in this video, she's going to tell us why she took her husband back after he cheated on her. Let's see what she's got to say, and now I'll bring some of my comments after. Let's get into it.
Hey guys, welcome or welcome back to my channel. If you are new here or finding my channel for the first time by way of this video, welcome, come on in. I've been doing a series here where I've been sharing how I married a man that I had absolutely no business marrying, child. Ignored all the red flags, ignored all the warning signs. I even had a dream. My intuition was screaming at me, and I married that man anyways, and I suffered. And I have been sharing different experiences that took place in that marriage and all the things that I uncovered about how wicked this man truly was. And so I decided to be a cautionary tale for everyone of what not to do, what not to ignore, and just really how we should be navigating relationships to get the best possible result.
And one thing before we hear what she has to say in more detail is, she just said it. She said so much already, which can help so many more people. I assume that she must have really thought he was fine or whatever, because to forego all of those red flags and to still marry him, she must have just been head over heels in how he looked, or he must have had just loads of money. But let's see what she's gonna say.
So today's video is going to be a little different. So with me sharing my story, obviously this has opened me up to such a wide community of women from all different walks of life. And so I get messages from women on the daily that are telling me they're currently going through the same thing, or they went through it, you know, how my story, resonated with them and how helpful it was or has been to them. And so I'm just truly grateful for that. It has not been easy for me to share my story. Obviously, this takes a lot of not only vulnerability, but a lot of strength, a lot of courage. And so even though I sit here and I've been sharing some of the most gruesome detailed stuff and been laying it all out here, it hasn't been easy.
And you know what, right? It's obvious that she's going to take her time. So you definitely have to watch the longer version of this video, which is going to be on the channel, because the short isn't going to do it justice. But so far, one of the things I like in what she said is she wants to be a cautionary tale. This is great because the Bible always talks about the elder women teaching the younger women. Now, she doesn't look like drastically old, but she can still help younger women coming up, right? Not make the mistakes she made, and help a lot more women avoid these sorts of situations and find themselves in much better situations. Because at the end of the day, again, it had to be looks, or it had to be money. It had to be, like, to me, I would be surprised if she didn't at the time just think he was some hunk, or he was just super rich. Unless he did like voodoo on her or something, right? Right, we typically would say, unless he did juju on her, I don't understand why. Women are really normally big on their intuition and their feelings, and like, I feel this way, so I'm not going to do this. So I can only imagine she must have just had so much attraction to him that she just said, yeah, forget all of that stuff, he's going to change or whatever. But let's see what she's going to say.
But I know that I'm doing the right thing. I know I needed to share it. It was just, I didn't want to internalize these things, because as I was going through the uncovering process in 2023, when everything started coming out, I had nobody to talk to. I felt very isolated, and I had to internalize everything that I was uncovering at the time. And so when you internalize things that are that heavy and that dark, it can physically make you sick. And so in 2023, because I felt like I had to hold everything in that I was finding out about this man, you know, I was physically going through it. Like, I lost a lot of weight, and you know, I just realized, you know, I can't hold all of this in. Like, I can't, you know what I mean? It's not my burden to carry. And
carrying dead weight is going to slow you down, and it's going to kill you. So it's great to not only hear first and foremost that she's a few years removed from this, right? And she's saying she lost a lot of weight then. She was in a bad place. She didn't really feel like she had people to speak to. Now she seems to be in a better place. She's able to unload and let go of a lot of this baggage and dead weight. And not only on top of that, she can help other people learn from these sorts of situations. So it's good to see she's in a much better place. I just pray that she continues to use wisdom And that will help her, no doubt, going forward in various different situations she finds herself in, especially in relationship and marriage and stuff like that.
So in 2024, I decided to start sharing, you know, some details with like some of my closer family members, just because, again, I needed to release this. And but I didn't feel comfortable dumping because it was a lot, as you guys have seen. It has been a lot. It has been just a lot of dark stuff. And the one thing, I don't like to dump on people. I'm that person. I really like to keep my relationships, friendships light, airy, fun. And I know, you're supposed to have relationships and you should have people that you can go and confide in. And I agree to that. But I don't like to feel like I'm dumping. So a lot of things I just would not share because it was just too much, you know what I mean? And I don't want to dump on people. So in April of this year, I just really felt led to start sharing my story online, and I can dump it here because whoever is meant to see and whoever chooses to watch can watch. If it's too much, you don't consume it, right? So if it's content that you just feel like, nope, I don't want that energy, you don't have to watch it. But I know.
And also at the same time, it's great because instead of going one-to-one, which can be exhausting to go through the same painful story over and over again, you can just do it one time, like periodically, and many more people can see it. So it's beneficial for her, and it's also beneficial for more people to listen to it and to see it at the same time. It's a great lesson.
I know that my story is helping so many women, because they're reminding me of that every day. And so, yeah, I'm proud of myself for finally opening up and sharing this. But with all of that being said, about a couple weeks ago, a woman reached out to me, and I did not see her message. She reached out to me on Instagram and TikTok, and I didn't see her message on either platform until, what is today? About 2 days ago. And I seen her message on Instagram, and she said she found me on YouTube, and she had been watching my videos, and my videos have really been helpful to her. And she said she was currently going through a similar situation with infidelity, not exactly like mine, but infidelity in her marriage. And she wanted to share with me her story. And I told her, sure. She said it was like really long. And she asked me if she could email me. And I said, yeah, go ahead and email me, And I read the email yesterday. And me and her, I got on a phone call with her because the email is, pretty extensive. And me and her spoke, and she is such a beautiful soul. She is such a beautiful soul. And so we talked, and she told me, like, look, you can share it on your YouTube if you want. I really just don't have the courage myself to ever go online and talk about my personal business, but share it on, share it with your viewers. Obviously, we're going to keep her name and everything private. But yeah, I wanted to share her story with you guys and just talk about what it looks like when you are trying to recover from infidelity. And if you agree with taking a person back after infidelity, do you feel like you can recover from infidelity, or do you feel like once somebody cheats, it's just over and done?
And the funny thing about this, though, maybe it's not so funny, is there was a video I did recently, which was a woman. It was crazy. The woman was basically saying to her husband, "Oh, look, raise the child, sorry, or from another relationship." So the scenario seemed to be that she cheated on him with another man, she got pregnant, and now she's saying to her husband, because you're my husband, you have to raise the child. It's your obligation. And he's like, no, he wants a divorce. And she's like, no. Like, you have to stay. You're a Catholic. You can't divorce me. And I was like, that's crazy. He's probably gonna, he's not bound in as a Roman Catholic to stay in a marriage. Adultery is grounds for you to get divorced in Roman Catholicism. So my point, but at the same time in that video, I was like, well, look, you'll be surprised that some people will actually try to fix it. They'll try and stay in the marriage if the person is repentant and is asking for forgiveness. There are people that will do this, and some people thought this was crazy, I'm sure, but this is why even seeing this is not a surprise to me, this sort of story, because I know there are people out there who are that focused on trying to mirror God's view of marriage. And what I mean by that is, I explained it in the other video as well. I was giving an example of how God speaks about his people often with in marital terms. He's the husband, they're the bride. And so often throughout the scriptures, you read it, they commit adultery, they go step out on God, they go and do idolatry, they do all this kind of stuff. And God doesn't sit around and just say, okay, yeah, keep doing it. No, he pushes them away, and he's like, okay, look, he separates. If you want to do that, go and do that somewhere else. They go and do it for however long they're going to do it. They realize the error of their ways eventually, and then they come back to God. So after cheating on God, doing some of the most grotesque stuff, they come back to God and seek forgiveness. And every single time, God forgives them. He takes them back. And is like, okay, cool. Be better. And I was using that as an example because some Christians look at marriage like that. They're like, they are willing to forgive anything that their spouse does, as long as, obviously, like God, they are repentant, they change, and you can fix it. So there are people out there, and I said in that video as well, clearly that's not the majority of people, but there are people out there who do that, and you shouldn't necessarily fault them because they are really taking the love of God to deep levels that not many people want to go to. I'll just put it like that.
So I'm gonna read the email. It's a pretty long email, so just let me see. Just stick with me. I'm gonna try to read it all the way through. I might kind of like give a little commentary on certain things again, just because it's a little extensive. Okay. Hey Tisha, I never thought I would be the woman writing one of these emails, but here I am. I honestly don't know if I'm looking for advice, validation, or someone to tell me I'm not crazy. My husband and I have been married for 6 years. Before all of this happened, I honestly thought we had a good marriage. We laughed all the time, we traveled, we started a family, and from the outside looking in, people constantly told us that we were couple goals. About 2 years ago, my entire world fell apart. I noticed he started acting different for a few months. His phone suddenly became glued to his hand. He started taking calls outside, and if I walked into a room, he would always lock his screen. Anytime I asked if something was wrong, he would tell me he was fine and that I was just overthinking. Eventually, I started to question what I was feeling. Doesn't that sound familiar? You definitely start to question what you feel. One night, he fell asleep on the couch with his phone next to him. I wasn't planning on looking through it. I was just going to plug it into the charger. As I picked up the phone, a message popped up. The message read, "I miss you already."
Now, before we continue, whether that last part played out exactly the way she said, I know people are going to debate about that, but it always fascinates me listening to these sorts of accounts because like, to me, it's funny on so many different levels. Taking calls and then going outside, like locking your phone, which kind of indicates that she doesn't have his password and stuff like that. Like, this is so foreign to like my experience. Like, my wife has the password to my phone. I have the password to her phone. She can go through my phone whenever she wants. I'm not taking calls and then all of a sudden going out because I'm having some secret like conversations. None of that. And those are the kind of things that are wise things to do because it sprouts out, it births good relationships, good relationship habits. Women are big on like security, safety. So if you can continue to show them that they're secure, we're secure, that will go a long way. Plus on top of that, like I've always said to my wife, like I'm the kind of guy, like I grew up watching movies where it's like guys would hide stuff from their wives in movies, which they'd find out later, and that would be the reason why their wives would leave them. Like, oh, like he ran up some massive debt, for example, or he did something which she probably would have forgave him or helped him through it if he told him at the moment. That's one of the things I just grew up saying to myself, like, I'm not going to be one of those guys. Like, there's no secrets on my side, let alone the fact that I'm a Christian. I'm trying to live a godly lifestyle. I'm trying to be a godly husband to my wife, also showcase what a godly husband looks like to my sons. So it's crazy when you see this sort of stuff, but it makes sense. Like, if you start doing this for like weeks and months, of course, most women are going to start to be a bit weary. Like, what's going on with this guy? And we don't even need to get like into personal stuff. If certain stuff just stops happening, women are not stupid. I'll just put it like that.
My stomach dropped. I felt sick. I felt nauseous. I opened the message and my chest ripped. I opened the message, and it felt like someone reached into my chest and ripped my heart out. There were months of messages between them. They were making plans to meet. They were exchanging I love yous. There were hotel confirmations, photos being sent, and even conversations about me, and details that only belonged inside of our marriage. I remember physically shaking so bad I could barely hold the phone. I immediately woke him up.
I was about to say, as you saying, so I remember he's asleep. I'm like, this is the kind of thing a woman, she sees her husband asleep and like she could beat the hell out of him, but at least she didn't do that.
And
At least not
confronted
yet.
him, and he denied everything. Then he admitted that they had just been talking. When I showed him the hotel receipts, he said it was just a mistake. I really dislike when cheaters say it was a mistake. Cheating is not a mistake. It's the most intentional thing you can do.
No. I'm going to disagree with that. At least a little bit. It may be a mistake, but that can't be the thing I believe you lead with. You can't lead with it was a mistake, because you're doing it and you weren't thinking it's a mistake. You're in the situation, you're caught up for whatever reason. The best thing you can say in that situation is, number one, sorry. Not lie when all the evidence is right in front of you. But it can be a mistake. People make mistakes. So even like people can do things intentionally or go through certain scenarios, but it's still a mistake. But that shouldn't be the thing that you lead with. That's just silly.
That is not a mistake. Let me stay focused. Every time I presented more evidence, the story changed. I know that all too well. That's just how it works. It just keeps changing.
Because obviously if someone's lying or they're trying to, okay, look, they've been caught in this way. So they're like, maybe I'll just say a little bit. But then they're like, no, there's more receipts, there's more evidence. This is why it's always good to just tell the truth. Let the truth, as Jesus said, make you free.
Eventually, he started crying. He told me he hated himself, and he promised that it was over with her and he would end it. He begged me not to throw away our marriage over the biggest mistake of his life. His parents called me. My family asked me to think about this before leaving. Also, our pastor got involved, and he said marriages could survive infidelity. Everyone kept telling me it was just a mistake and that I should forgive my husband.
And obviously the story is seemingly like it's going to go a different direction. But in that scenario, if whichever spouse it is that's been unfaithful is saying the right things, you want to give them the benefit of the doubt. You want to hope for the best, because there are people who are unfaithful and then they change and never do it again. But this is why I'm not surprised. Like some people will look at a pastor or a bishop or whoever it is, a priest, and be like, no, don't see. Why would you say that? No, the Bible says love believes and hopes all things. So you're going to expect the best. That may not always happen though.
And honestly, I wanted to believe that because I truly love my husband. So I decided to stay. He agreed to therapy, and we started going to marriage counseling every week. He gave me passwords to everything. He deleted social media. He shared his location. He answered every question I had, even when it was uncomfortable.
Which is all good. Because you see how I was saying before, like in my marriage, all of this stuff from day one has just been open. It's not like, I don't even want you to think like, oh, something happened. Like, no, right? And it's funny because I was even talking to someone recently and I was just saying, look, trust is such a valuable thing. When you break someone's trust, it's going to take time for you to do the things that are necessary for the trust to be built again. But it's doable. So he's now going to therapy. He's going to counseling. He's given her the passwords. He's given all this stuff that should have been in place from the beginning. But let's see where it's going to go off the rails.
For almost a year, I believe we were rebuilding. He became more attentive. We started going on dates again. He would bring me flowers. He talked more about becoming a better husband. Every little thing Every little step made me think maybe this nightmare happened for a reason. Things felt like they were getting better than ever. Maybe this is what healing really looked like. But there were still days I struggled, of course. Sometimes I wake up from nightmares where I was reliving the messages. Sometimes I will have panic attacks. Sometimes I will wonder where he was when he wasn't at home.
Which all makes sense. And this is why he has to be intentional to showcase it was a mistake and he's doing better. But imagine any time now his phone gets a message. Those are things which can trigger those sorts of situations back.
But every time those fears came up, he always reassured me. I would never hurt you like that again. I know I broke your trust, but I'm earning it back. And I really believed him. And then about 2 months ago, so this is recent, okay? Everything fell apart again.
This is not the sort of behavioral characteristics which is going to help you be successful in a marriage or in any area of life. You don't do something for a short period of time and then stop. You be consistently the right person so the right things can consistently come to you. Don't forget to like it, guys. Don't forget to subscribe. And as always, don't forget to react righteously. And again, if you want me to do part 2 and get into more of the tea, let me know in the comment section below. God bless.